Hi there, welcome back, guys, on day number 123. This is the twister of the day number 123 as part of the CISSP Success Toolkit. Let's go ahead. What I have in for you today, I think again we are exploring domain number 5 and just a one single liner question here. Don't think these kind of questions may not come. Right? Sometimes there are single line questions as well in your CISSP exam. So feel free, take a pause. I don't think you need even 1 minute to answer it. It's a 30-second question. Feel free to pause the video and I will explain. So let's start. Which is not an example of single sign on, right? Not an example of single sign on. What is single sign on at the first place, right? Single sign on is a concept wherein you just log in once to the main identity provider in your company, and then all other services, all the related services which are under your realm or your particular domain, you can actually go ahead and use them. It does not mean that the authentication is not happening. Please don't have that misconception. In SSO, authentication and authorization even happens for everything, right? For every service you access. The only difference is, in this particular case, you don't need to have a separate password, a separate username created for, let's say, 10 different services in your company. You don't need to do that, because that is a very vulnerable situation. If you have more services, you need to create different accounts on them. There are different set of password policies. Then you will falter with that, and end of the day you will end up writing it on somewhere on a cheat, right, and pasting it at the back of the computer. So we want to minimize that particular risk, and for that SSO play a very important role, right? In SSO, there are certain different technologies which we adapt to use SSO. I will take it from the bottom. Number D, Active Directory Federation Service. So Active Directory Federation Service is a SSO service which is used for federation. For example, when you want to get some services from a third party which is actually outside your company parameters, and you want to leverage some of their services, but you don't want your customers to go and create an account there. You still want to get authenticated from your inbuilt Active Directory or your internal Active Directory or whatever access control system you are using. That is the time where we use Active Directory Federation Service. That is helping you in the federation process. So that's number one. Then option C is centralized authentication system. Centralized authentication system we always prefer. For example, your Active Directory itself, just for an instance, it's a centralized system which will actually do all the authentication for you across different devices, business applications, and different services, right? That's a centralized access control system. Again, this centralized access control system, most of the time it is having the capability of SSO by default, so you can also leverage it to do it. So note our answer in this particular case. Then Kerberos is a authentication protocol which helps you. For example, if you have a Active Directory in your company and you go in the morning, log into that particular system, you're already using Kerberos, right? So Kerberos is an authentication system, or you can say a protocol which works on symmetric cryptography. Password never ever travels on the wire. There is something like we are focusing more on time stamping. That means all the system should have the same time from NTP, using the NTP protocol, right? And again, Kerberos is basically for SSO services by itself. So first, when you go to a company, first you get authenticated to your Active Directory, and the Active Directory will then give you two things. It will give you one session ticket, which you can hold over, let's say, for next 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is. And it will also give you a token based system, right? It will give you a token. The token you can use as and when you want to access some services, but again, you cannot directly go to the service. You have to go to the Active Directory again. There is an authentication server who will validate your TGT and then assign you with a service ticket. That service ticket will be encrypted by the password of the service, not by your password. Please remember, there is a concept called as zero knowledge proof as well, which in some other video we'll talk about, right? And that is how Kerberos works in. So Kerberos is a SSO system, guys. Please understand that, be very clear about it. What is not SSO system is Radius, remote authentication dial in user service. This particular remote authentication dial in service is used for in cases, for example, you want to log in from home through a VPN. Best solution can be your Radius server. We don't want to expose our Active Directory in the DMZ, obviously. So we, instead of using the Active Directory there, we get it authenticated by using the Radius protocol. It is most often an inbuilt component in Windows system and other systems as well. So you don't need to have a lot of do all that kind of changes. Basically it works on UDP, that also you need to understand. And there is a wide, you can say, compatibility. Radius also supports the older version of password authentication system as well, password authentication protocol as well. And compatibility is there, but as on today, as you know, password authentication protocol is not considered secure. That's another challenge, right? That is why on the security front, Radius is little on the downside. But normally for VPN connections and those kind of stuff, remote authentication, where we use Radius, we don't use it for SSO services. For SSO, all the other three, right? So I think this particular slide might have helped you to get onto some concepts, and it has helped you to pass your CISSP. With that said, if you like this thing, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And we also have a CISSP success toolkit program, very structured, very thoughtful. Entire program has been designed for 100 days. It's just not a training, it's a complete toolkit. That is why I used to call it as a toolkit, right? Hopefully go through my website, explore it. It's a wonderful resource for you if you are serious about your getting your CISSP. With that, Jai Hind, and I will see you tomorrow.